Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a really exciting episode of Career Mode. It's going to take a little bit to get into it, but first off we have a Chelsea game, and we just came off the back of an absolute battering, a trolling session with Arsenal, and unfortunately it didn't get any better with Chelsea, as the Chelsea player Lucas there manages to get a goal, which meant that we were 1-0 down, and even worse, our man Nuri Sahin unfortunately was injured, but you know, that's two midfielders injured. That's two big important midfielders injured. Sahin as well as Merkel. Merkel should be coming back in a couple weeks. He's out for quite a while as well, which is a bit of a shame, but it didn't get any better. We've done better though than previous games against Chelsea. Previously we used to get smashed by them. Now that was just a 1-0 win, and it was a little unfortunate. Some slightly poor positioning from my centre back to let the Lucas manage to header that ball in. But as we know, that I've been chasing Jordi Alba. Unfortunately though, they weren't interested in my offer, and I don't actually have any money. Look at my transfer budget. It's currently 60,000, and so I don't have any money to work with. They did say if I increase the bid to 3.5 million, I think, and put Mbaye in there, then they'd consider it, but unfortunately I just didn't have the funds to do it, so I was a little bit like, I don't know if it's all that worth it anymore. And Mbaye, he's a good player, but we know, you guys may have seen in previous episodes, quite a few episodes back even, that he has expressed interest to go out. So he did say though, in the middle of it, that he's going to think about it. He's going to brew over whether he wants to stay at the club or he'd like to go elsewhere. So I'm sure we'll hear from him shortly. But yeah, there are some big things going down in this episode. It ends on a bit of a cliffhanger, so I will just prepare you all for that. But Arsenal, they're interested in Danilo. They offered 13 million for him, and I was like, you're going to have to pay a little bit more than that if you want to pick him up, just because Danilo's a good right back. You know, he's solid. There are right backs in this game. There aren't that many amazing ones. There are some solid ones, but Danilo, I have had no complaints with him. He's done a good job for the team, and I have no real desire to get rid of him, but I did decide to counter-offer in case they were interested in shelling out an entire 16 million for him. As you guys can see, my two injured players at the moment are Merkel and Sahin. Sahin's all the way up to an 87 rated player. He came in when he was an 86, so it's nice to see the improvement already. I did decide to simulate this match against Peterborough just because I felt confident in it. Another big thing, guys, is that I actually really swapped around the squad. As you can see, that's a very much a second tier team. Although Royce admittedly is amazing, so it's awesome to be able to bring him on in positions like this. But as you can see, you know, Gavazzi, a 61 rated player, just some players there that necessarily wouldn't really start for me. But we won very comfortably, which was very pleasing to see, and it was a solid win as well, and just what we needed. But West Brom came in and smacked me up with an offer, and I was like, you know what, Ter Stegen, I've recently signed him, 83 overall, only age 23. You know, if you want to buy him, you're gonna have to pay big money for him. So I was like, they offered 16 million. I thought that was already quite generous, but I was like, well, I'm gonna smack it all the way up to 25.5 million to see what they'd have to say about that. Another offer came in from Mbaye. It's clear that other clubs have got a hold of the fact that he's not really having a great time over at QPR. I'm not entirely sure why. I remember we had a bit of an issue with the contracts. He wanted more money. I wasn't willing to give him more money. I feel as though, you know, he is only an 81 rated player, and I understand he's young and he can develop well, but I'm just not willing to pay. He wanted quite a substantial amount of money for the sort of performances he was putting in. But I had a game against Tranmere here, and it was a Capital One Cup. I believe this is the semi-finals actually, and I was like, how did Tranmere get all the way to semi-finals? And for that reason, I didn't show them too much respect, in the sense that you know, I decided to play out my full team because they've obviously got there for a good reason, and I didn't want to let my guard down and put out, you know, a very second tier team. And in fact, I only managed to win 1-0, so that goes to show that they were actually a pretty strong side. A few defensive errors, but all in all, pretty solid performance from the team. But West Brom managed to get back to me, and on the Ter Stegen shenanigans, and they were like, hey, we aren't willing to pay 25.5 million, but we're willing to do 25 million. I was like, do I push the boat a little more, or is 25 million just ridiculous for him anyways? So I take a quick moment to think about it, and I was like, you know what, 25 million for Ter Stegen, who I brought in. You know, I'm just turning money over like no other at the moment. I'm getting very lucky with these sort of things. We do remember that, you know, West Brom, they managed to get a financial takeover. I made a bit of a joke. I was like, 69 million. Yeah, Muriel, okay, whatever. Like, as if someone's going to pay 69 million for him. And so I just shipped that off pretty quickly. And of course, Yeah, 69 million. I just thought it was a bit of a joke, and I thought, you know, no one is actually going to pay 69 million for Muriel. He's 89 rated, which is quite good, and he is just magnificent for the team. I love playing with him. He's one of my favorite players, and in all honesty, he's been with us for so long. We've seen him develop from, I believe he started as a 78 rated player, so he's come up 11 entire stats, which is just ridiculous. But you know, with the departure of Ter Stegen, which is very likely, obviously that's assuming they sort out personal terms, contracts, that sort of thing, then I had to keep an eye out for a new goalkeeper. One player, when I managed the French national side, I did use Hugo Lloris, and Lloris completely amazed me. He's the highest rated goalkeeper in the game. Unfortunately, Casillas is just below him, but he's already age 34, and I feel as though that's just a little bit too old for my liking. Gaeta, who we previously had, we took him from an 82 rated goalkeeper, brought him up to an 88, and then eventually sold him on to Juventus. And as you can see, he hasn't really gone past the 88 rating, as still about a season later he's still rated 88. So you know, I have certainly been through my cycle of goalkeepers, there's no doubt about it. And I inquired into Hugo Lloris, and they told me 14 million, and then boom, that email comes in. They matched my 69 million bid from Muriel. I don't know whether this is awesome or I'm really sad because he might be leaving the team. I don't know. I mean, 69 million for me, that is wonderful. 70 million for a striker like that. 89, you know, he was slowly getting there, but it would take a lot longer if I wanted to get him into the 90s. But he just played so well for me, so I didn't know whether this was a good deal, a bad deal, or just like, you know, just time to move on with new things. So they've decided to match 69 million. I'd be really interested to know whether you guys thought I kind of counter-offered for the right amount or not, because I personally think, you know, I got decent money for him, and he's an awesome player, so I'm kind of hoping he doesn't accept the contract, but we'll have to wait and see. But immediately from then, as soon as I saw they matched, I was like, well, I better go find myself a striker, and I wanted one that was 90 rated plus, and there were only two at the moment, Messi and Aguero. So you guys are gonna have to wait till the next episode to find out which one I pick up, and it'll be really interesting to see. And I hope you guys are really enjoying this series, because it suddenly got a whole lot more interesting with the Ter Stegen leaving and Muriel leaving. There is gonna be a lot of money in the bank, and I can't wait to see who we bring into the squad. Feel free to let me know who you guys would like to see in the comments below. Have a cracking day. Also, if this video hits 3,000 likes, I will upload 2 videos today, 2 career mode videos, that is, and you guys will finally find out who I replace Muriel with and who I replace Ter Stegen with. Have a cracking day, ladies and gentlemen. I'll see you all later. Bye-bye.